I redesigned the DVD covers of Supernatural, the CW series that ran from 2005 to 2020. Doing so, I created 15 unique cover designs, 30 if we include the front and the back, wrote out all 327 episodes, and put in more than 300 hours over the course of 3 months. It all started in late 2023 when I received the Supernatural series box set. Inside the box, there are 5 cases that hold 3 seasons each, approximately 18 discs. The front cover is the same for each case, promotional imagery for season 15, while the back has one full bleed image of one scene from one episode of one of the 3 seasons. For example, the first case, seasons 1 through 3, has an image of the boys burning something, and seasons 4 through 6 is cast just standing there. Not to mention that the cases are incredibly chunky and difficult to handle. The middle part, holding the bulk of the discs, refuses to stay snapped into place and typically falls out as soon as I open it. So I have my problem. These cases are troublesome to use and they're super boring to look at. The solution? Most people might just ignore it and put it on the shelf, but obviously there's something seriously wrong with me and ignoring it is not an option. Earlier this year, I made a fake VHS-inspired piece for Season 5, Episode 14, My Bloody Valentine, just to fill an empty magnetic frame that I had just lying around. I really like this style, the grunts, the gore, the wear and tear, and the faux nostalgic feeling that it created. And so I thought to myself, why don't I just do this 15 more times? Other incredible designers have already made stunning vintage Supernatural art, and I'll have all of their socials linked down below, because if you like what I made, you'll probably like what these guys make too. So, with my plan settled, I bought a box of empty DVD cases that hold 6 discs each, the most any season has. To start, I looked at the individual season art to see what's going on over there. Off the bat, these are much more interesting. Each season has a unique cover image, and the back has a collection of screen grabs or promotional images, a synopsis, an occasional quote, and a description of the special features included with the discs. The eerie glow, the gory textures, the desaturated colors, the Dutch angle on the back that creates a sense of unease. Compared to the series set's singular imagery on the front and back, these are communicating what the show is about. For example, Season 7 has creepy Leviathan faces on the bottom half of the cover, and on the back, the most important person from the season, Charlie. Season 11 has Amara looking spooky and mysterious and powerful on the front, and Claire and Rowena girl-bossing the hell out of the back. But this, by itself, still wasn't good enough for me. My biggest problem is that the back doesn't list out the episode titles. I want to peruse my collection and pinpoint exactly that The Man Who Would Be King is episode 20 of season 6, or that Scooby Natural is episode 16 of season 13. I want to see that season 4 episode 20 is called The Rapture, and that season 15 episode 3 is called The Rupture. Like, what's with that? Is there any connection there? Why are they so similar? At a glance, I want to be able to see that season 1 is full of one-word episode titles like Skin, Bugs, Scarecrow, and Faith, while season 4 has goddamn sentences like Are You There, God? It's Me, Dean Winchester, It's the Great Pumpkin, Sam Winchester, and Chris Angel is a douchebag. After my research and discovering my priorities, I established 2 major goals I wanted to accomplish with this project. Firstly, I wanted all 15 seasons to look like a cohesive set. And secondly, I didn't want them to look so similar that I or someone familiar with the series could confuse one season for another. To accomplish this, I set some ground rules. The first rule is that all information printed on the actual case was only allowed to be one of 2 fonts: Alvarata, which is used for the titles and the headings, and Urania Czech, which is used for copy and subheadings. The second rule was that the cover and the spine kept the same format: the title with a tagline, the season numbers, the splash image inside a border, and the spine title, number, and image. The images themselves could be whatever, but the format needed to stay identical. In addition, the color scheme for the cover and spine was always the same: charcoal and red. On the other hand, the back cover was given much more freedom. The back needed the episode list title, the actual list of episodes, the credits and the copyright information, and the logos and barcode at the bottom. The credits and the logos stay in the same spot, although they do get squished or expand vertically depending on how much space I have. But the episode titles, save for the fonts, could be however or wherever I wanted them in whatever color best suited the composition. With those rules in mind, I got started. So this is where I figured out, what am I actually doing here? I began with wireframing, using rectangles to block out where I wanted chunks of text and images. I did this to figure out the hierarchy of the text, repeated elements like logos and season numbers, as well as personal priorities. For example, I originally added a space for a pull quote because I really enjoyed it on the season covers, but I eventually took that out so that I could have more room for the episode list and other decorative pieces. Then I explored fonts and eventually chose Alvarata and Urania Czech. After that, I made the logo, the big supernatural text that would be on the cover. I accidentally created a logo mark for a Supernatural branded baseball league, and while that was fun, it was super not the vibe I was trying to emulate. I eventually went with something very similar to the official logo, bright text with a duplicated motion blur behind it. Now the biggest challenge, what about the back? What's the theme of this season? What do I want to communicate with a single glance? Luckily for me, I had already answered this question in 2020 when I created a Supernatural animated title sequence as a student project. Using title sequences like the 2009 Sherlock Holmes and 2014 Marco Polo as inspiration, I created a diegetic sequence using John's journal as the storytelling medium. In the beginning, Supernatural revolved around using John's journal. It was their map, their guiding beacon and North Star to which they found solace and solutions, until they became better hunters than their father ever was, and it became practically obsolete. Using material I had already gathered or created for my student project, I themed the back cover as contextually John's journal, complete with a newspaper article about the fire, drawings and ramblings of a man mad with grief, and a singular image that encapsulated the entire season. Season 1 is the only season I made that received just one accompanying image, and that's because this one has it all. The composition of Sam and John arguing, both hurt by the other but unwilling to yield, Dean pushed to the side, stuck in the middle and doing his best to maintain the peace. Chef's kiss, mwah, mwah. That is season 1 incarnate. I mean, yeah, there's like a new monster every week, but I didn't get hooked on the show because of the man door hand hook car door episode. It was all the other stuff in between. The front image is from a series of promotional photos for season 1. These were taken well before the series premiered and before anyone figured out who the characters really were. They're standing in an empty field next to a dingy motel sign while staring moodily past the camera. Their clothes aren't quite their style and the staging is a little awkward. It gives me a sense of unease, like these people aren't the real Sam and Dean, but a stranger's perspective of who they could have been in an alternate reality where Sam wore ostentatious belt buckles and Dean wore Y2K knit waffle Henleys. On the spine, we have Mary living it up on the ceiling, and it's funny because she's literally doing the exact opposite of that. I mean, she is the catalyst of the entire series. Just as the spine supports the body, Mary supports the foundation of the narrative. There was never any other option but Mary here. The tagline is obviously the Supernatural quote of all time. How can I make a season 1 cover art and not include that front and center? I changed the stickers after finishing the entire series as I felt that season 1 was lacking in the sticker department, so let's talk about those. All of my sticker mockups are from Flyerworks Peeled Sticker Pack, and I'll have their links in the description below, along with any other mockup that I use for this project. I've used these sticker mockups for tons of designs, and everything Flyerworks offers is astounding. I said earlier that the only fonts allowed on the case were Alvarata and Urania Czech, but that rule doesn't apply to the unique stickers for each season. In this SBN DVD Cinematic Universe, or the SBN DVD CU if you will, the DVDs were made and designed by the CW company or whatever, but the stickers were added after the fact. Maybe from individuals who rented out the DVDs from some sort of alternate universe blockbuster video, and that's how they got so beat up and dingy and covered in mysterious blood. All that to say, I can use whatever font I want for the stickers because they're inherently breaking the fourth wall just by simply existing. The first sticker is one of the other most recognizable quotes of all time, that of course being "Driver picks the music and shotgun shuts his cake hole." Funny thing, I always thought the quote was "pie hole" because of the whole pie obsession, but it's cake hole. which makes more sense, I guess, because I think that's an actual phrase. I pulled a Season 8 alteration of my own memory just for the laughs and the lulz. The second sticker is another Season 1 classic and the only swear word that appears on the cases, but as a PG-13 show, we get one bitch per episode, so we're good.
I think he wants us to pick up where he left off. You know, saving people, hunting things. The family business.
This is my weakest cover and my very objectively biased opinion, which isn't at fault with the season. Season 2 had gems such as Crossroad Blues, Croatoan, and Hollywood Babylon, P.A. Dean My Beloved. If I were to redo this one, I would focus more on the Croatoan plotline rather than just Azazel, because there are more tangible elements that I could have used for the design and stickers. It also would have had a nice connection to Season 4, Episode 5, The End. Here I quickly realized the two biggest challenges that will haunt me throughout the rest of this project. The first was, oh no, I have to now write unique taglines for each season. The classic quote, saving people, hunting things, the family business is perfect for the debut season, but I didn't want that to be repeated for every single cover, especially later on when the boys get a little lost in the sauce. The second challenge was, how will I choose which photos, and therefore which characters, to display on the back? This is an extremely subjective and biased matter, and throughout the series I am positive that I made incorrect decisions if we only consider plot importance. But this personal project is nothing but subjective and biased. In the end, I just chose my favorite characters or moments that I thought were impactful to the story. Ergo, for Season 2, Ash and Joe. Hashtag Joe deserved better. For your convenience, I have compiled a list of important characters in no discernible order that do not appear in my designs. If anyone has any complaints like, hey, this character should have been on this season because of X reason, trust me, I know, and I am just as upset about it as you are. Okay, here's the list. Jody Mills, Alex Jones, Donna Hanscom, Abaddon, Missouri Mosley, Jessica Moore, Ruby 1.0, Rufus Turner, Meg Masters, any of them. Becky Rosen, Samuel Campbell, Lilith, The Car, excluding Season 8, in which she is very, very tiny. Victor Henriksen, Gordon Walker, Asmodeus, Naomi, Henry Winchester, The Ghost Facers, Hannah, Eve, Dick Roman and Company, Michael, Ours, Adam Mulligan, Anael, Dagon, Zachariah, Uriel, Donatello, Mrs. Tran, Mick Davies and the rest of the British Men of Letters crew, Lisa and Ben Braden, Bartholomew, Jimmy and Amelia Novak, Belphegor, Kaya Neves, the Stein family, the Psychic Children, Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Amelia Richardson, the one with the dog that Sam hits. Also, why the fuck did they name two semi-important characters Amelia? I gaslit myself into thinking that this Amelia's name couldn't possibly be Amelia because I kept thinking, oh no, I'm just thinking of Amelia Novak. But no, they're both called Amelia. Cole Trenton, although fuck this guy, so I'm not sorry. Patience Turner. Why does she and Rufus have the same name? I know this happens in real life, but guys, you can think of unique last names for your OCs. Thank you.
You're bossy. You're short.
Are you drunk?
Yeah. So stupid.
Following one of our lowest lows, we have one of our highest highs. Hi! Oh my god, that's so embarrassing. I knew from the very beginning that Season 3 was going to be mystery spot themed. While the cover isn't one of my best, the neon green really stands out from the browns, charcoals, and reds that we've seen so far. The back is heavily inspired by the flyers from the actual mystery spot in Santa Cruz, and I changed the information to reflect the fake one in Broward, Florida. As expected, I struggled with the photos as I only allowed myself 2 for the back. I initially had the iconic I lost my shoe scene for the spine, but eventually replaced it with a portrait of Gabe. At the time, I thought I'd be able to fit Gabriel into Season 5 or even Season 9 or 13, but alas, he never quite made the cut, so I backtracked to Season 3 and made a very difficult decision. Bella's role as a thematic mirror to Dean is so important to me personally that she absolutely needed to have her moment on the back cover. While none of the actual members of the Ghostfacers made it into this series, the subtle nod of their footage of Dean and a branded sticker was good enough for me. Both the Hellhound sticker and the strategic Both the Hellhound sticker and the strategic blood splatter placement. How am I already so tired? Both the Hellhound sticker and the strategic blood placement. Both the Hellhound sticker and the strategic blood splatter placement on the cover allude to Dean's violent and untimely death that occurs on this truncated season finale. Salute to the writer's strike of 2007. How fun!
All this time you were teaching us about heart, about dedication, and about how gay love can pierce through the veil of death and save the day.
Wake up, people! This is what we've all been waiting for! We can finally start paying attention now that canonically the most important character has appeared, Castiel. Is that the one that came off the line with the crack in his chassis? Yes, it is. The one that every other version of him shut up and did what he was told, except this one? Yeah. This one was inspired by the ever-iconic barn scene where sparks literally flew as soon as Cass walked onto screen and into our hearts. I wanted to heighten the theme that angels are wavelengths of celestial intent by adding TV static and glitching. Reminiscent of Castiel's unsuccessful attempt to communicate to Dean in Lazarus Rising as ear-splitting static, Castiel's successful communication with Jimmy in The Rapture as TV static, and later in Season 5, Episode 16, The Dark Side of the Moon, where Cass contacts the boys in heaven through the car radio and later through the TV. Electric angels are a recurring motif throughout the rest of my designs. Oh yeah, I also wrote out Dean Winchester is saved in Enochian. This is referring to the announcement on Angel Radio that pierced Anna's weird human angel brain and got her sent to the sanatorium. Enochian is a real fake language, if that makes any sense, and there are a few different fonts that people have made to support it. The language was created by John Dee and Edward Kelly in the 16th century as mad scribbles in their journal. They called it the language of the angels, yet its syllabic structure and grammar resembles English a little too closely and therefore ring the bullshit bell in my books. So it's a real language, but its origin was most likely a couple of Bible fanboys rather than celestial beings who were super fans of the English syntax. I also might have written this incorrectly, so if anyone has the right translation of Dean Winchester is saved, I'd be more than happy to update the text. The back photos are Pamela getting her eyes burnt out, slay, Dean's fishing dream from The Rapture, and the classic handprint reveal from Lazarus Rising. Anna won the coveted spot on the spine in honor for almost being a main character if it weren't for that meddling Cass. The two stickers reference quotes both said to Dean. Cass's line of, "I'm the one who gripped you tight and raised you from perdition" from Lazarus Rising, and Mary's bedtime truism of, "The angels are watching over you." The third references one of the most iconic moments from the series from Episode 8, Wishful Thinking.
Who are you?
I'm the one who gripped you tight and raised you from perdition.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
The back is supposed to be indicative of apocalyptic, end of times, illuminated manuscript vibes. I bought the Necronomicon graphics pack from Design Syndrome on Gumroad. I'll leave a link to that in the description below if you want to check it out for yourself. All of the elements, save for the paper texture, were from that design pack. Season 5's back cover might be my favorite just because of how cool the graphics are. The chosen images are of Samifer from the end in his beloved white suit. Sidebar, in Season 15, Chuck shows Sam another world in which he says yes to Lucifer, and I love that he is still styling the pure white suit. Also, is it common knowledge that Lucifer is prone to this aesthetic? Asmodeus in Season 13 sports an identical look, and I can't help but correlate the two. Dress for the job you want, I suppose. The second image is the ever-iconic upside-down FBI badge scene from Free to Be You and Me. I had originally wanted the Den of Iniquity scene, but the visuals of the FBI badge are so integral to the show that it won over. Shout out to Season 15 when we see Jack pull the same stunt, like father, like son. The third and final image on the back is Raphael outperforming the electric angel / cosmic horror motif. I wish there was more exploration into this expression of celestial wavelength because my jaw dropped at this scene. This is the second season that uses promotional material as the cover art. I like the composition and the monochromatic color scheme so much that I felt no need to make a new one with my lackluster Photoshop skills. Good one, guys. I ended up just adding a little blood over Cass as an homage to his explosion into viscera in the season finale. On the spine, we have Lucy because this is his season. Even if he was going to go somewhere else down the road, which, spoiler alert, he doesn't, he at least had to be present in season 5. The tagline is a reference to Cass's fruitless search for God on many a flatbread throughout the season.
Up against good, evil, angels, devils, destiny, and God himself. They made their own choice. They chose family. And, well, isn't that kind of the whole point?
The man who would be king. Need I say more? Okay, now, yes, I know that Sam was running around soulless for half a season, and there's the whole thing with Lisa and Ben, but this is Cass's moment to shine, okay? Season 6, Episode 20, The Man Who Would Be King, is the only episode with a Cass point of view, and I would be a fool not to capitalize on this moment. On the front, we have Cass, surrounded by holy fire, trapping him with his choices. Dean and Sam are looking away, unable to help or watch as everything goes down. And lastly, we have Crowley, watching over and guiding Cass down his questionable path of misplaced righteousness. For the back, I knew I wanted the bench scene from The Man Who Would Be King. This is my all-time favorite moment in the entire series. I even recreated this area, complete with stone bench and flowers, on my Animal Crossing New Horizons island. In fact, my entire island is Supernatural themed, but this little spot is what I'm most proud of. In Photoshop, I removed Cass from the bench and extended the environment vertically. I played around with the Photoshop generative AI tool to add more purple crocuses in the bottom right corner. And they're okay when seen from a distance, but up close they're a bit off-putting. Luckily, most of it is covered by the barcode. The photos from left to right are Death moments before lovingly placing Sam's soul back into his unwilling body, Cass being a voyeuristic freak watching Dean rake leaves before leaving with Crowley, and the spine is ultimately our boy Balthazar. I originally had Eve in this spot, but later on realized what a horrific oversight I had made by not once referencing Balthazar and quickly fixed my error. The sticker on the back cover was a last-minute addition that I'm so glad I caught. I would have been a complete and utter fool to miss a chance to reference the incredibly in-depth fairy lore that we hardly ever touch after their debut. The front sticker speaks for itself. Sorry, Sammy, your soul was just a little too troublesome to bring back. My hands were full. Cass really pulled the I refuse to make 2 trips to bring in the groceries, but instead of carrying everything at once, he just left Sam's soul in the hot car for hundreds of years. And that is so slay of him.
Explaining freedom to angels is a bit like teaching poetry to fish.
I'll be the first one to say it. I don't like the Leviathans. I think their plot was weird and the solution was convoluted. Another thing I disliked was that Cass was capital D dead for 15 episodes. To cope, I made both the cover and spine highlight the iconic moment of Cass walking into the lake. So while no Leviathan are present during the Leviathan season, their impact is implied, and that is good enough for me. The back has a dark ocean, again representing the Leviathan goop without actually showing any. I masked out some of the text to create some faux depth of field in some places. In the end, it was difficult to balance the effect and legibility of the episodes, and it's not very noticeable. The images were also a difficult balancing act, a reoccurring theme if you haven't noticed. Some runner-ups were Cass's stained glass mural, Dean holding the trench coat, Becky and Sam's wedding, the bone of a righteous mortal washed in the 3 bloods of fallen, Honey Cass, and Plucky Pennywhistle's magical menagerie. In the end, I chose Sam with his hallucination Lucifer. Get it? Hallucination. And then also Charlie and Kevin. For the stickers, I recreated the Biggersons and Sucrocore logos. Biggersons is the reoccurring family diner that debuted in season 3, and Sucrocore, the conglomerate business run by the late Dick Roman and the early head of Leviathan. The tagline is a direct quote from Kronos said to Dean in episode 12, Time After Time. This episode is a micro hyperfixation of mine within the larger macro hyperfixation of Supernatural as a whole. I'll link my 50-page Coda graphic novel for this episode in the description if anyone is interested. Although it's kind of funny if you think about it, because in the end, Kronos was correct in his prediction. Contrary to Dean's thoughts at the time that the black ooze in question was of Leviathan origin, it was rather the primordial black ooze of the empty devouring everyone's happy ending. We love unintentional foreshadowing. Maybe that's 3-shadowing, because it's like a little bit less than foreshadowing because it was 100% accidental.
Peace out, bitches. Thanks a lot.
She's kind of like the little sister I never wanted.
Season 8 is one of my favorites. It's up there with seasons 4, 5, 10, and 11. I'm a sucker for a good mind control plotline, and Benny is my ride or die guy. The back is the gruesome gray scene of purgatory with a little bit of one of the tablets peeking through at the bottom. For the pics, I ended up choosing an image from episode 11, LARP and the Real Girl, Benny looking absolutely stunning, #BringBackBenny, and Cass beating the shit out of Dean in the crypt from episode 17, Goodbye Stranger, as a treat. Hunteri Hiroishi is another one of my top episodes, and it saddens me that it has no place to shine, but I am being so brave about it. Lastly, on the spine, we have the one and the only Alfie, aka Samandriel. This is a moment where I am aware that he has such little bearing on the plot that it's questionable why he receives such coveted real estate. And the reasoning is so simple. I like him. His purpose was to highlight the comparison of angels and machines in the sense that they can be programmed and, more importantly, reprogrammed back to basic code. And he did an amazing job at that. What he lacked in plot relevance, he made up with charm. The front, as you can tell, is one of the most unique covers in the entire collection. It's a screen cap from episode 7, A Little Slice of Kevin, the moment after Dean sees a disheveled Cass walking alongside the road, but when he stops the car and gets out, there's no one there. I added the TV distortion from The Rapture to the sky and more glitching elements on top. I had made a few other variations of the cover, more aligned with how I've composited the other ones, but there was something about the green and the purple and the element of loneliness that struck me to my core. The tagline is the only allusion to the Trials of Hell plotline, and I'm so chill with that. The sticker on the back refers to Naomi's method of reprogramming angels. They say that the eyes are the windows to the soul, and Naomi took that literally and used a drill to get there faster. The sticker on the front references Dean's description of purgatory. There's something about that place. It felt pure.
What's the word, Cass?
It's a shortened version of my name.
Yes, it is.
Season 9 is busy. I didn't remember half of the weird stuff that is happening in this season until I went through the episode list. We got fallen angels and their cliques, human Cass, stolen grace Cass, Metatron's attempt to be God, Gadriel possessed Sam, Cain and his fancy tattoo, Garth is a werewolf now, the Men of Letters, and Abaddon. Like, I'm sorry, what? Did all of this need to be happening at the same time? Anyway, despite that, the cover is really basic. I knew I wanted Metatron writing at his pretentious little typewriter, with the boys doing their thing in the background. Here we have Dean letting that mark of Cain just marinate inside of him, our most pathetic meow meow of a man, human Cass, and Gadriel feet Sam looking dastardly and scheming, as is his prerogative. My original idea for the back cover was a pile of receipts from the Rexford, Idaho gas and sip, where Steve, aka our most pathetic meow meow of a human Cass, worked. I had found a mock-up and typed up a whole list of purchased items, but when I composited it onto the back with the text and all, it just didn't hit, so I scrapped it. The receipt is still really fun. I recreated the gas and sip logo, and every item is a food reference to something in the show, and the price for each food is the season and episode that it's from. For example, we have the Elvis, the burger made with 2 donuts from season 11, episode 12, the Big Pretzel from season 4, episode 5, Monster Movie, and the abhorred turducken from season 7, episode 9. But in the end, this asset went entirely unused. Maybe I'll still print it out and make a bookmark or something. The final backside references the falling angels as seen from that funky little chapel. The stars make the text a little illegible in some places, but some things must be sacrificed for art. Due to the scrapped gas and sip receipt idea, the name tag is the only reference to steeds. I found an enamel pin mock-up and separated the graphics that would be metal or enamel filled. I added a little bit of a shadow and reflective light to give it depth from the page, but on the dark background, I'm not sure if it's noticeable at all. The sticker is a price tag, yes, but it's also an Easter egg. Yes, I know, unheard of. The previous price is $10.08, which is, of course, referring to October 8th, the day season 9 premiered. The current price is $2.13, shorthand for 2013, the year season 9 debuted. It's all coming together, folks. Beep, 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 beep. That's me connecting the dots. Beep, 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 beep. The images from left to right are Cass devouring that good stolen grace, so delicious, so delectable, Dean powering up his abilities with the first blade, and some cheeky little Crowley-Sam bonding time because they don't have enough screen time together.
What makes a story work? Is it the plot, the characters, the text, the subtext? And who gives a story meaning? Is it the writer? Or you?
In seasons 2 through 4, Sam had his little blood freak moments. In season 6, Cass went a little power crazy, so it's only fair that Dean has his chance to be diva-liciously corrupted. The back was inspired by the VHS cover of An Innocent Man featuring Tom Selleck. I'll put the image up. I found this from the Retro Days VHS tape cover collection on the Internet Archive. This will also be linked below, and I highly recommend a leaf through because they are so much fun. As we saw from seasons 3, 4, and 8, I am already highly susceptible to paper motifs. I was also feeling a little bored with the 3-column structure I had been heavily relying on. So I decided to replicate the division with the paper tear from An Innocent Man. But because I had already decided to cut out the images instead of leaving them in the background, I added even more paper layers to distinguish the photos. Season 10 features the most images we've seen so far. I had so much vertical space to fill. From top to bottom, we have the Mark and Jensen photo, which is technically non-canonical, but it fits the Forbidden Summer of Love arc so well that I think we can all agree it deserves an honorary badge of canon. Then we have Sam with his broken arm and that damned book that got Carly. I know, you see, somehow the world's gonna change for me and me so wonderful. Okay, where was I? Then we have Sam with his broken arm and that damned book that got Charlie killed. Thank you for asking. No, I am not over it. And no, I will never get over it. Next is the iconic angel-demon hug that has spawned countless number of fanfics, and Crowley being all depresso because he finally realized that maybe what he wanted wasn't exactly what he needed. Wow. And lastly, the beloved daughter and a guy who isn't really her dad but looks exactly like her dad and also got her dad killed but now takes on a pseudo-fatherly role in her life moment. So sweet, so cute. For the spine, I had to go with the biggest success and then biggest immediate regression of self-development we've ever seen, Kane. The front cover is nothing too special. I knew I wanted Demon Dean and his red demon shirt looking deviously demon-y. We have Cass and Crowley on his shoulders. Yes, this is a very cliche angel and demon on my shoulder trope, but in my defense, I've made 10 of these now and I'm running out of ideas. And Sam and his natural state of being perturbed and worried about Dean. To top it off, they're all connected with a lovely little halo of fire. The tagline is a quote from Season 3, Episode 10, Dream a Little Dream of Me, in which Dean is confronted by a demon version of himself in a nightmare. This is another example of excellent and most likely accidental foreshadowing, much like the Kronos quote from season 7. It's brilliant that Dean's worst fear about being dragged to hell in 2007 was becoming a demon, and then 7 years later he becomes a knight of hell alongside his situationship with the King of Hell. Stunning. Speaking of the King of Hell, because this is such a Crowley-heavy season, I knew I wanted a Crowley-centered sticker. Ergo, the Hello Boys quote receives its rightful place. We also have a cheeky little reference to episode 5 fan fiction, paraphrasing Marie's line to the boys. Can I just say, fan fiction had me in a chokehold when this aired. The way the writers were able to simultaneously thank the fans for their dedication to the series while also shaming them in such an obvious and malicious way, iconic. And how they were able to make fun of their own plot lines for being derivative and melodramatic at the same time while praising the series for being an epic tale of life, death, and everything in between. Unheard of. Not to mention Chuck slyly walking in during the last 30 seconds of the episode, thereby confirming the hashtag Chuck is God theory that had been circulating since his debut in season 4. I was on the goddamn floor. A cruel and capricious god indeed, Chuck Shirley.
Occurred to you? Have you never mused upon the fact that you're living my life in reverse? My story began when I killed my brother, and that's where your story inevitably will end.
Sliding right into season 11, which may or may not be my favorite season, depends on who's asking and how much I remember about season 4 at that exact moment. I thought that Amara, a literal god, having this weird obsession with normal guy Dean was strange, but honestly, same girl. Same. It seems like every monster who meets Dean becomes inexplicably obsessed with him, and they're all so valid for it. For references, see Anna, Castiel, Benny, Crowley, Amara, and later also Chuck. I accidentally did the entire splash image off camera. Oops. Oopsie-teals. Oops, sorry about that. But there's really not much to say. We have the holy siblings looking dastardly with the two boys getting caught in the middle of affairs they do not belong in. What's new? The back of this one took me the longest out of any season to make. My idea was to have 2 pieces of paper. I will never be over the paper motif, we've talked about this, with the lighter one on top burning and the dark paper underneath showing through said burns. Something about the light burning away to reveal the darkness underneath, blah, blah, blah. We all get it. It's very clever and has never, ever been done before. I had to point by point mask out the edges of every burn so that the top text lined up with the bottom text, and it almost killed me. Season 11 wins the prize of least legible, but at this point, I do not care. I cannot care, babes. If you can't read it, that seems like a you problem. The photos from this season are, from left to right, a moment from episode 15, Beyond the Mat, simply because I love the fact that they have one singular ounce of fun in this horrible, horrible world they live in. A little daddy-daughter bonding time with girly pop Amara and Crowley, and Cassifer absolutely fucking up some guy's shit. Now this is a very solemn moment for me, guys. I have a confession to make. I knew I wanted Rowena as the spine image here, but this image is not from this season. No, this stunning depiction of Rowena is from season 15. It pains me to say this, but I honor the truth too much to deceive anyone. My goal for this entire project was to only use imagery from said season on said season, but this clearly goes against all of my morals and better judgment. This decision is eating me up inside, and a huge part of me wants to go back and change it to be season appropriate. But then another part is asking, why do you care so much about a single image on the spine? And in that voice I say, how could I not care? It's super motherfucking natural. All that to say, it's been a very tumultuous time inside my head. The only sticker for this season references a conversation between Crowley and Dean in the finale episode, Alpha and Omega, wherein Crowley calls Dean's plan of exploding himself and Amara via soul bomb desperate and stupid, to which Dean replies, "It's all we have left." The fact that Dean then waltzes up to Amara, stuffed to the brim with the mega soul bomb, and Amara goes, what you got there, buddy? And then snaps it away without even breaking a sweat. Hilarious. In the end, it was the power of friendship and that old lady shit-talking her son that saved the day. And I think that's beautiful.
Darling, if there is one thing I've learned in all my years on the road, it's when somebody's pining for somebody else.
From the very beginning, I dreaded season 12. This is the season from which I fell off the wagon when it was airing. Last season's baddie was the sister of God, and now you expect me to take you seriously when you say that this season's main antagonist are British people? Like as a genre? I know they're frightening, but they're not darkness incarnate God frightening, no matter how mean they are. Also, you lose points for throwing in evil cliche British person trope. Everyone knows an evil British person, you're not special. Anyway, the theme for this shit show is Men of Letters because I was not going to focus on the demon baby. I decided to base the back off of a Men of Letters member's ledger that we get a brief glimpse of. I recreated the Men of Letters sigil, also known as the Aquarian star or the unicursal hexagram, and found a rubber stamp mock-up so that they each had a slightly unique texture about them. For our members, I originally had Mary as our number one girl, but I replaced her with Eileen because Mary got an upgrade to first class, aka the front cover. Next, we have Castiel absolutely serving in the late 1800s with his she-her vessel from episode 10, Lily Sunder Has Some Regrets. Lastly, we have a very lovely Ketch, of whom I enjoyed this season. He was a wild card, and I don't think anyone else could pull off the classic I am my own evil twin bit quite like Ketch did, the absolute mad lad. For the spine, we have the other mother, Kelly Klein, looking gloriously pregnant and kidnapped, a la Dagon, but don't worry, she gets better. And then quickly becomes unbetter, but it's fine. It's fine. Season 12 is the spiritual successor to Season 8 in that it breaks all of the previously established splash cover conventions. I wanted to do a stack of documents on a table with other stuff strewn about it in a very natural, captured in the moment kind of way. The Men of Letters is all about gathering information, so logically they would have some sort of documentation on the boys, right? So I just kind of went with that. I found some reference images of classified/confidential documents to use as my guide. I also added little handwritten notes to the document. My working theory is that maybe Ketch wrote these, or perhaps Mick, during their conniving little plans of reconnaissance. It doesn't make much sense because the British Men of Letters seem very tech-reliant, and this is giving early 2000s Luddite, but we will find it in our hearts to forgive it for the vibes. Do it for the vibes. I ended up writing little summaries of each of the members of Team Free Will plus their chaperone Mary. I want to say, doing this research, that I had two major L moments. The first was that I felt awful looking at the actor's height and weight. It felt so icky and wrong, but I knew in the canon of this fake document I was creating, the Men of Letters would 100% have that information because they're sick, nasty freaks. The second L event that took place was me falling into the rabbit hole that is Dean Winchester's blood type. To make a long story still very long, we know that John Winchester's blood type is AB because of a shot of his dog tags in Season 2, Episode 4, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. But later, in Season 10, Episode 3, Soul Survivor, there's a scene where Sam grabs type O positive blood for Dean and says to him, "For what it's worth, I got your blood type." This had the fans in a frenzy because apparently it is very, very rare that an AB parent could have an O positive child. I'd also like to kind of get myself in here and say that, for the record, I have no idea what I'm talking about, and I am not and will never be a blood expert. I am just telling you what I learned. I'll link the blog post about this topic because it's very interesting. So, some fans speculated that Sam simply grabbed the O-positive bag because it's the universal donor to all positive blood types, meaning that Dean could technically still be an A-positive, B-positive, or AB positive. While others suggest that Dean really is O-positive and that it's a very rare genetic mutation that caused an AB parent to have an antigen-less child, resulting in the blood test always coming back as O. This is even further muddled in season 11, episode 17, Red Meat, wherein Dean says that Sam's blood type is O negative. Jensen at one point referred to the O positive bag as being a prop error, and then it was at this point I realized I was in way over my head. So I closed all of my tabs and decided to take the canon at face value. I made Mary's blood type also O positive because I don't know, man. If John was AB, but Dean and Sam are O, then Mary has got to have some O in there somewhere. I don't know. And despite all of this work, the text is so small, it might not even be legible. I don't know why I even bothered, except for the fact that I am not well about this awful show. So anyway, after all of that, I still had to write out little summaries of their characters so far. I then crossed off any information that alludes to the supernatural stuff on the off chance that this document gets into the wrong hands, I suppose. Again, there's not much logic here, babes. We are running on vibes and vibes alone. If this was a British Men of Letters document, why is it on a desk with Dean and Sam's family photos? Maybe they took it from Ketch and then it got mixed up with all of their other documents? These are the hard-hitting questions that rattle around my brain like the DVD pause logo, but ultimately it doesn't matter because the end result looks cool as hell. The tagline for this one is not my best work. I wanted to play with the idea that the British Men of Letters are theoretically supposed to be allies, but it turns out their methods are cruel, and then the demon baby is supposed to be the end of the world, but in reality, he's just a little guy.
Get away from my boys.
Speaking of little guys, season 13's theme is, he's literally a baby. And also, more importantly, Tombstone, the movie and the episode. The back cover is directly inspired by the 1994 VHS of Tombstone. Fun fact, I have this VHS, but I don't have a VHS player. It's really more of an art piece than media to me. I started with the tombstonification of the title, and I accidentally also did that off camera, but trust me guys, it was not interesting, okay? I literally just wrote out the letters, I tracked them out, and added some rough and tumble lines to the top and bottom. The tagline right under that is from a promotional poster for season 13, so I brought that in to mimic the Tombstone tagline, exclamation point and all. Then I recreated the border that surrounds the main character, Tombstone, and then the other guys. I knew the episode titles had to go into this space, but I didn't know how I would deal with the background. I originally wanted a ghost town that looks exactly like the ones behind Wyatt and the Badge Brigade, but I couldn't find a stock image that worked for me. So we just went with sand. Just sand. And a gradient on top. And you know what? It works. Sand works. I mimicked the photos on the back of the VHS this time, featuring Sam being Good Dad, the episode of all time, Supernatural, and of Mother Flippin' Course Tombstone, feat cowboy cosplay Dean and Cass. My goals for the front cover were to display the connection between the new father and son duo, Jack, the former demon baby, now Nephilim young adult, and Cass, an angel who found new faith through fatherhood. I could go on an entire tangent of begrudged old men refinding faith and purpose through unexpected fatherhood in media, but that will be for another video. In addition, I also wanted to show the distrust between Dean and later Sam with Jack. As you can see, I did not add any mention of Lucifer, Apocalypse World, or Asmodeus. And that's simply because Lucifer pisses me off at this point. I don't remember half of the stuff to do with him because it was not interesting. He's trying to get Jack to be a baddie like him, but Jack already has 3 other dads that got to him first. Why are you even here, Lucy? Get back in Vince Vincenti or get out. I cannot with this guy. I do regret not adding Asmodeus because he absolutely slayed in that white suit.
Wait. How old do you think you are?
3 days, 17 hours, and 42 minutes.
So this season was about Michael, right? He was a major problem for a while, right? Well, it doesn't matter, because the only thing that matters to me is that after Michael got his new little Dean suit, the very first thing he did was get a custom-tailored 3-piece and a chic little newsboy cap to match. Only after he got his fit in order did he start the atrocities. This man has priorities. This is a great demonstration of angelic presentation, however. We have a few examples of vessels before and after possession that we can examine. We got Jimmy Novak, Sam Winchester in Season 5, Episode 4, The End, Gadriel, and Nick. There might also be a few others that I'm forgetting. Like, we also have Adam and Michael, but they're a little different as they co-inhabit the same vessel rather than Michael purely possessing Adam. Cass was lucky that Jimmy was already dressed as a corporate professional so that he fit in with all the business baddies up in heaven. In contrast, when Michael and Lucifer got lumberjack Dean and Sam, they both said, "No, this simply will not do," and got an outfit change right then and there. But in the main timeline, Lucifer simply did not give any fucks when it came to Nick and went around dressed like a widowed dad for 10 seasons. Gadriel also didn't seem to care what his vessels were and dressed both the bartender and Sam as they were. So the question is, did the other angels get lucky like Cass and their vessels were simply primed at the ready to match heaven's unsaid but very obviously endorsed dress code? Or did some of them get casual Friday fits and then immediately change lest they be mocked and ridiculed by their better dressed peers? Thank you for attending my heavenly fashion TED Talk. I hope you learned nothing because I sure didn't. Also, I did not include any of the Nick plotline because that annoyed the hell out of me. Are you telling me Nick is a problem now? Lucifer-less Nick? Grow up. Also, did we ever get an explanation as to why Nick's soul was brought back to his body when the exact same circumstance happened to Cass's vessel, yet Jimmy remains in heaven? Anyway, back to the designs. Even the back cover is vaguely Michael-themed, from the absolutely stunning shot of him in that blood-stained apron in the abandoned church with the broken glass-stained window behind him. Breathtaking. The rest of the back is very weak in terms of concrete themes. I have so many photos simply because I didn't know what to do with the space. I'm a fan of the blue and gold, highlighting the battle between Michael and Jack, but that's about it. The photos from left to right are Jack immediately exiting the Malak box, a lovely scene of the boys having their allotted 2 minutes of fun, their ration for each season, Jack and Kelly in heaven, Sam being good dad once more over sick Jack, Cass also being good dad and healing Jack, and last and also maybe least, Mary and John reuniting for one last time. I don't like John, what can I say? I don't like him. I don't think he was worth it, Mary. On the spine, we have Apocalypse Bobby because I love how they just brought him back exactly the same. Apocalypse Charlie has her whole thing of being like, I'm not your Charlie, but Bobby is Bobby, no matter the dimension. The cover is also pretty basic, Michael versus Jack, blue and gold, with both Sam and Cass in their natural states, worried and depressed respectively. The sticker on the back is reminiscent of old travel postcards, urging the viewer to tour the vibrantly monochromatic landscapes of Apocalypse World. Come on down, we have Angel War and Mysterious Spires. The front sticker is, of course, referencing the titular Malak box, aka the solution to all of our problems. They should have tried putting more things into the box, actually. I think it would have worked if they just kept at it. They should have tried putting Lucifer in the box, as a treat.
Do you watch us? When you're not here, are you watching us?
Yeah. I mean, you're my favorite show.
This is it. The final frontier. The end of the road. I've been here so long, I almost don't know who I am without this. So, Chuck came back, and he's evil now. Turns out he was the baddest baddie to ever bad, and that's all I'll say on the matter. Hi, Editing Coral here. Interrupting your scheduled program to say that I've noticed a mistake. This picture of Dean and Sam is not from season 15. I'm pretty sure it's from season 13, that one about a scorpion. Scorpion and the Frog. This is a huge letdown. I'm very disappointed in myself. I don't know how I'm going to explain this to my mother and my parents. I've never been more humiliated in my life, and it'll haunt me for the rest of my career, probably. Just wanted to get that out of the way, take accountability. Sorry I don't have my ukulele out, but hopefully this apology is enough. Okay, back to the rest of it. The front shows Chuck's control over everything and his desire to squash Jack like a little bug. Then we have Jack cast in a halo of Chuck's light, signaling his role as future god dust to be dissolved into every atom. Only for a little bit, though, I guess, because he then immediately reforms Heaven and saves Castiel off screen. So I'm not sure what that whole spiel was about, Jackie boy. We then have, say it with me, depressed Cass, because if I were him, I'd be a bit fucking depressed too. Lastly, we have Dean and Sam just kind of watching. I mean, I know they're important. They're the main characters of Chuck's favorite story, but in the final fight, all they did was get the shit beat out of them until Jack could pop in with his sassy remark and do a little Indiana Jones swapsy wopsies on the distracted Chuck. So they're just kind of chilling down there. It seems like after they introduced Jack as a real person in season 13, he became the main character of the dysfunctional brothers show. Interesting. The back, of course, is the table in the library after Dean adds both Castiel's and Jack's name to the official Winchester family registry. Funny that John isn't there, but I guess the writers also agree that he's sort of a piece of shit. Just saying, just throwing that in there. I extended the screenshot vertically, added some lighting gradients, and lens blurred some floating dust particles for the atmosphere. At the bottom, we have our reel of photos to signify, yes, this was cinema the entire time. From left to right, we have Rowena, now appropriately titled Queen of Hell, Jack moments before becoming and then later unbecoming God Dust, the pilot outfit repeaters Dean and Sam hugging in their beloved Heaven Bridge, Castiel post-confession but pre-gooped, Mrs. Butter's mealtime menagerie, Chuck devouring Amara a la normal sibling rivalry, and Sam firing the Chekhov's God gun. For stickers, we have the classic Looney Tunes sign-off with the anti-possession tattoo subtly underlaid. I guess I was kind of able to reference Hunteri Hiroishi after all. Then we have the quote of all time, basically confirming that Castiel is the most important character in the entire series, as he was the only thing in this universe that consistently portrayed free will from day one. Then on the front, we have Castiel confirming said importance with his conversation with a broken and dismayed Dean. And the tagline, another Castiel banger. This time, it's from season 6, episode 20, Oh What Was That? The Man Who Would Be King. Yep. I will never, ever get over that goddamn masterpiece of an episode. I believe the actual quote is, "It's simple. Freedom is a length of rope. God wants you to hang yourself with it." But to better match the series' overall motif of free will, I changed it slightly for the tagline. And that's pretty much it, folks. Now we can talk about the printing process and the amazing product photography.
I made other worlds. Different combinations, scenarios, characters, different versions of the same characters. My other toys. Is that where I screwed up?
Sir, this is a radio show?
After finishing all 15 covers, I duplicated the files to convert them into CMYK and added a 1/8 inch bleed along the border. This might not have been the best way to go about it, as when I made a few changes down the road, I had to then change both the RGB and the CMYK files separately. I also realized that I perhaps should have been building these in InDesign instead of Illustrator because InDesign is made for print, but oh well, it is too late now. I exported the now bled and CMYK'd versions into PDFs with crop marks and compiled those into a 15-page document for printing. I then slapped that on a flash drive from 2016 and made my way to the Office Depot. I originally wanted these on a lightweight paper, like maybe 28 pounds, with a gloss finish, because most DVD covers are glossy for some reason. But when I got to the official depot, they told me that their nice printers were broken. But I was already there, so I just used the self-serve printers and printed them onto normal printer paper, which is not very professional of me, but it is very lazy of me, which is on brand. Because it was the self-serve printer area, I also had to cut up all 15 covers one by one, and that took a while. Season 3's cover was way too blue, so I had to go back home, adjust the exposure and colors, re-export it, and then Shrek back just to reprint that page. As an overall note, they're too dark in person. Some photos are difficult to look at because the actors melt into the background, and some text would be completely illegible if my eyesight were any worse. There's a high possibility that I might adjust the exposure of everything, just crank it all the way up, visit a legitimate printing house, and try again. If this were a real product, I would 100% make these changes right away. But because these are just for me and the photos turned out magnificent, I might be okay with them not being as perfect as they can be. It's photo time! Yay! Photo time! My good friend Jaiden helped me take all of the pics, and by helped me, I mean she did everything while I watched and played with her dog. The staging on these bad boys really makes them look professional. If I hadn't poured my blood, sweat, and tears into the making of them, I might have been fooled. You can find Jaiden on YouTube and Instagram at The Story Corner, and she makes content about books and other media. I asked her how to describe her channel, and she said verbatim, "Oh God, I don't know, man. I just geek out about books. Big lover of stories. I honestly have no idea." So yeah, go check her out. She just released 4 hours of content about the Sunbury trials, and it's very informative and entertaining.
And I can also do some post-processing.
Aww.
Dude, I was gonna do that fucking anyways.
Oh, you're processing.
Yes.
My pose. I'm gonna cry. That's my little baby boys over there. Their season 1 promotional art. I talked about how these outfits are ridiculous. But I think Dean does wear like some version of this shirt, and I made fun of him for it, and now I kind of feel bad. Okay. How are you feeling? So do you think I should change any of them? How does it look perfectly haphazard? Visually
maybe we should do the other way because right now Supernatural is all upside down.
Oh shit. So are my best friends.
Your best friends?
Yeah.
And who the hell am I?
You're also there. I do.
Oh yeah, I like that.
But then if I just like take this one away, we might be able to get them to boys. Okay.
Like this? Fly, get out of here, fly.
Bye. Okay. What next? Sad Beethoven. Look at him. He's doing great.
I like that.
Ooh, yay! That is fun. Slinky! That looks absolutely regal.
Right?
Oh my god, that's working so well.
Right?
I knew it was so smart to keep that box.
Yes.
Ooh. Yeah. Like that?
More. It's Supernatural right now. Yep.
Uber natural.
Supernatural. Ruh-roh.
Like on a piece of paper, like I filled up the paper. Because he writes weird. You see how the first A is a double story A, but then by the time he gets to tracks, it's all capitals?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell, dude?
Oh, you know what to do. Here. Oh, yeah. Can I mess with it?
Yeah.
And this one has like... Ooh, I like how you can see the receipts then.
Oh. Ooh. Sam!
Sam.
Ooh, that is so cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we just threw it down naturally in this white void.
In the white void.
Yeah, I just kind of sat down and it worked out. Oh my god, I think this is actually, oh dear, this is actually the same page I used for the background.
Oh wow, that's funny.
Oh, box, my beloved.
Good. Open aperture. All right. Let's push the mug back so that way we can get it out of focus. Hell yeah. That looks dope, dude. Look at that.
Oh yeah! Oh cool, yeah. You can like, you know what that's supposed to say. How fun.
It's itching my brain.
Ooh, so itchy. So itchy, so nice. I'll blur your feet. I'll do like the pixelation thing, and then maybe I could have like a little money thing. Like
yours for $49.99 a month.
Yes. Should I go in and mess it up? What about above your feet? I'll like pixelate it, but then I'll also put like your Instagram and YouTube. I got a little distracted. No.
It sounds like someone who.
No.
Okay, you can mess it up.
Yay! All right, guys.
Can I film you?
Oh, thank you.
It's like my job.
We'll go back to my YouTube channel. We're gonna fuck it all up. Let's have like different ones on top.
If what?
If Boba Fett had a feet pic account, it could be called Boba Feet.
I mean, true.
Where did
I don't know, where did Dean go? Not super hell.
Queen? Is it Queen
Yes.
Harley?
Here I am.
Yes! Wow, look at them all. Just a big pile.
Wow.
Big pile of discs.
I thought you were going to say something else.
What other big pile of discs? Why would I say that? We also watched Twilight because I had never seen it. And you know what? I'll say it. It was pretty damn good. Pretty good shit right there. Hashtag Team Alice. When is the hua hua starts?
What?
I'm so excited for the hua hua.
I'll let you know when.
Oh.
My dad's Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
He's the chief of police.
Oh. The conclusion to this beautiful project that has lasted originally for 3 months, and now it's taking me more than a month to edit it because it turns out I hate editing. I hate listening and watching video at the same time. Anyway, I love this show. If it wasn't obvious already by the hundreds of hours that I've put into this project, It's not a perfect show by far. Hell, it might not even be a good show. It has so many plot holes, forgotten storylines, trite melodrama, underwhelming monsters, and it treats its scarce female and POC characters with negligence bordering on malice. But despite its flaws, Supernatural has had so many amazing moments that, while they don't excuse its horrible writing choices or blatant vitriol towards their most dedicated fan base, has made this show last for much longer than anyone ever expected. Supernatural, 4 years after its finale, is still trending every other month on social media for godforsaken reasons. I learned that the Queen of England died through the Destiel confession meme on tumblr.gov. The official Supernatural Instagram has been unusually active recently, and a majority of the comments are people begging for season 16. The actors, to this day, 4 years later, are still touring across America and possibly internationally, charging an egregious amount for a photo or an autograph. All this to say, whatever Supernatural was, good, bad, brilliant, super duper bad, super hell bad, or just full of squandered potential, it existed at just the right time to cement itself into the neurons of thousands of idiots like me who hear the phrase "shattered at the altar of a Winchester" and begin to sob uncontrollably. In the end, I'm proud of the work I'm able to make because of this show's existence, and I'm excited to create even more cringe stuff in the future.